The Elephant's Child. In the high and far off times, the elephant, oh best beloved, had no trunk. He had only a blackish, bulgy nose, as big as a boot, that he could wriggle about from side to side, but he couldn't pick up things with it. But there was one elephant, a new elephant, an elephant's child, who was full of satiable curiosity. And that means he asked ever so many questions, and he lived in Africa, and he filled all Africa with his satiable curiosities. He asked his tall aunt, the ostrich, why her tail feathers grew just so, and his tall aunt, the ostrich, spanked him with her hard claw. He asked his tall uncle, the giraffe, what made his skin spotty. Then his tall uncle, the giraffe, spanked him with his hard roof. And still he was full of satiable curiosity. He asked his broad aunt, the hippopotamus, why her eyes were red, and his broad aunt, the hippopotamus, spanked him with her broad hoof. And he asked his hairy uncle, the baboon, why melons tasted just so. Then his hairy uncle, the baboon, spanked him with his hairy paw. And still he was full of satiable curiosity. He asked questions about everything that he saw, or heard, or felt, or smelt, or touched, and all his uncles and his aunts spanked him. And still he was full of satiable curiosity. One fine morning, in the middle of the procession of the equinoxes, this satiable elephant's child asked a new fine question that he had never asked before. He asked, what does the crocodile have for dinner? Then everybody said, hush, in a loud and dreadful tone, but they spanked him immediately and directly without stopping for a long time. By and by, when that was finished, he came upon Colo bird sitting in the middle of a wait a bit thorn bush, and he said, my father has spanked me, and my mother has spanked me. All my aunts and uncles have spanked me for my satiable curiosity, and still I want to know what the crocodile has for dinner. The Colo bird said, with a mournful cry, go to the banks of the great green, greasy Limpopo River, all set about with fever trees, and find out. The very next morning, when there was nothing left of the equinoxes, because the procession had proceeded according to the precedent, this satiable elephant's child, so full of curiosity, took 100 pounds of bananas, the little short red kind, and 100 pounds of sugar cane, the long purple kind, and 17 melons, the greeny crackly kind, and said to all his dear families, goodbye, I am going to the banks of the great grey green greasy Limpopo River, all set about with fever trees, to find out what the crocodile has for dinner. And they all cried, hush, and spanked him once more for luck, though he asked them most politely to stop. Then he went away, a little warm, but not at all astonished, eating melons and throwing the rind about, because he could not pick it up. He went from Grahamstown to Kimberley, and from Kimberley to Kama's country, and from Kama's country he went east by north, eating melons all the time, till at last he came to the banks of the great grey green greasy Limpopo River, all set about with fever trees. Now you must know and understand that till that very week and day and hour and minute, this satiable elephant's child has never seen a crocodile, and did not know what one was like. It was all insatiable curiosity. The first thing that he found was bicolored python rock snake curled around a rock. "Excuse me," said the elephant's child most politely to the curly creature, "but have you seen such a thing as a crocodile in these promiscuous parts?" "Have I seen a crocodile?" said the bicolored python rock snake in a voice of dreadful scorn. "What will you ask me next?" "Excuse me," said the elephant's child, "but could you kindly tell me what he has for dinner?" Then the bicolored python rock snake uncoiled himself very quickly from the rock and spanked the elephant's child with his scalesome, flailsome tail. "That is odd," said the elephant's child, "because my father and my mother and my uncle and my aunt, not to mention my other aunt, the hippopotamus, and my other uncle, the baboon, have all spanked me for my satiable curiosity. And I suppose this is the same thing." So he said goodbye and thank you very politely to the bicolored python rock snake, and helped to coil him up on the rock again, and went on a little warm, but not at all astonished, eating melons and throwing the rind about, because he could not pick it up, till he trod on and on, until what he thought was a log of wood at the very edge of a great grey, green, greasy Limpopo river, all set about with fever trees. Okay, let's continue in the next chapter. Thank you. Bye bye.